Bem-vindas, welcome, bem-vindos ao Immersive Talks do Brasil Immersive Fashion Week, um espaço de conexão e experiência entre moda e tecnologia. Meu nome é Lara Azevedo, se essa é a sua primeira vez por aqui, eu te convido a conhecer a nossa plataforma, a se juntar à nossa comunidade e acompanhar os passos incríveis dessa edição. Bem, o assunto aqui hoje é modelo virtual. E para isso, a gente convidou as meninas da Mutantboard, um hub criativo e uma agência de modelos digitais sediada em Londres, e a Vitória Cribb, artista digital que já teve seus projetos exibidos na Times Square e no Tate Modern. E hoje ela vai falar sobre Avatar, processo criativo e um pouco do que ela vê por aí em termos de futuro. Bem-vinda, Vitória. Welcome, Lorena e Julia.
Hi, thank you.
Hello. Well, girls, I think we can start with you both telling us about how is it to work with all the creative agency, like how's everything there? And then maybe Vitória can show us her work and how she's working, how's like everything is going through you both, because we know you work together. So we are very interested in like understanding how it works, how it's like behind the scenes and everything.
Okay, so should we start with introducing ourselves then? I'm Lorena, and this is Julia. We're the directors of Mutantboard, and basically we are a virtual model agency, but also a creative agency that helps to bring the models to life. So you have these virtual models that are made in 3D software, and then you might also need to animate them. You might need to render them in different poses and different outfits for different jobs and things like that. But also beyond just the models that we have represented on our website, anything in the virtual realm and 3D, we can do augmented reality, virtual reality, anything that you can imagine, basically. And Vitoria works with us, and she has one of the models that is represented by us.
And we decided to present Mutantboard in the format of a model agency because it's something people are familiar with in the real world, and they can make a connection to how an agency is laid out, and oh, these are models with their set cards. So it's something that people can relate to, even if they might not have anything to do with technology, but if they come from the fashion industry, they will understand what a model agency is.
So yeah, for Mutantboard, Julia and I are the directors, and we work with a lot of freelance talent from all over the world, men, women, non-binary, and from every corner of the planet. It's amazing, all the people that we're working with. It's really interesting, all the perspectives that there are throughout the people that we work with, which is great. It's so great to have a well-rounded team on board. And then the reason that we called ourselves Mutantboard is people kind of get hung up on this idea of a mutant, like something like a zombie or something sci-fi. And for us, the word mutant is more an extension of what it is to be human. It's, yes, we are human, but with something a little extra, because that's, bless you.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Because that's what a mutant is, really. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It is based on something that already exists, but taken a step further. So that's what we are. So our models that we have are a range of, some of them are a little bit sci-fi, or some are quite humanoid, and we try and have a range of different types of models.
And to give a bit of context, both me and Lorena, we come from a fashion background. We also work as a creative duo in the real world as photographers, stylists, creative directors. And so it was really interesting for us to tap into a new world and explore a new aspect of the industry that the fashion world also have come to realize its potential during lockdown, during the COVID crisis, and what can be achieved maybe more sustainably, and just a new approach to how fashion weeks and catwalks productions are realized.
I think also as image creators, it's so interesting to have new tools to work with, to express yourself with. For example, in the art world, you might have an artist who is used to doing oil painting, and then all of a sudden they discover sculpting. So for us, it's kind of like, oh, it's a new way to create, which is really exciting. And we actually had this idea to kind of merge tech and fashion this time last year, I think,
Yeah.
kind of November. And we were so busy in London, as with every other major city, you know, you're hustling all the time, working all the time to pay your rent, your bills, etc. So we didn't have the time to really dedicate ourselves to it until quarantine. And then we were forced, we couldn't work. And so we finally had the time to really focus on Mutantboard and launching it and, you know, making it look the way that we wanted it to look. So that's, yeah, we were born out of quarantine. And I guess everyone keeps telling us like our timing was perfect. So yeah, and I think with coronavirus and things like that, people are more ready and receptive for these kind of immersive technologies than they were before, which is great. Maybe Mutantboard couldn't have happened for another 2 years if it wasn't for things like COVID. So that's a little bit about Mutantboard, and we'll let Vitoria introduce herself now.
Hi guys, I will introduce myself. I'm Vitória Cribb, and I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and I'm an artist, multimedia artist and designer, and I started to work with Julia and Lorena this year in Mutantboard, and I was working and creating digital bodies for some time, but not in a way like not 3D avatars. So the first 3D avatar that I created was with Mutantboard, and the name of the 3D avatar is Otilia, is the name of my grandmother actually, and it was a different process for me and a different space, because I worked a lot with art, contemporary art and design. So I have a tech background, but I don't have a mainly, you know, like fashion background. So this is I think this process is like a recent process, because I'm how can I say, I'm merging more on fashion scene, and and I'm starting to understand how can we put this technological and artist process on fashion. So it's different, but it's kind you know, like it pushes myself as not only as a professional, but personal, you know. And OT was a work. How can I say it? Was a work that I don't know how can I express this, but was a kind of work that I can show some differences, some different bodies, and some different concepts of beauty in a digital body, you know. So I know because we have a lack of different bodies and on the fashion industry. So I decided to go with this main concept for my avatar, and I made an avatar with a huge body. I don't know if it's the best words to say this in English, but this was a different process, because when I created avatars before, I was focusing only on the skin tone, and you know, I didn't look so much for the type of body or some detailed characteristics. And when I create OT, I started to look at it like she is a model. She will represent the new beauty, you know, like the different beauty. And I go in a way like natural hair, natural traces on her face. And it's been a really good time working with Mutantboard and understanding this space for 3D avatars. And it's been really, you know, different and good for me. And
I'd like to comment on something you said there, Vitoria, when you said, you know, you come from like an art background, not necessarily fashion, and we come from a fashion background, not necessarily a tech background. It's really nice when you merge industries together and you learn from each other and you can push it to an amazing spot that you couldn't without, you know, collaborating with people from different backgrounds. It wouldn't work.
Also it's amazing to work with people in tech, especially 3D. Everyone we've worked with is so friendly and want to help each other and share knowledge. In fashion, a lot of the time it's not like that. You will not tell anyone anything about your contacts, how you work, nothing. Like, it's catty, you know? So it's so nice to see people who are so giving and welcoming. Like, me and Julia don't come from a tech background, but people don't laugh at us. People don't laugh at our ideas. And another thing I wanted to talk about is what Vitoria touched on about having these curvy figured models. Yes, in fashion, we are seeing that more and more and more. But think about where you first saw 3D avatars. It's video games that used to always be made by men, Lara Croft and other characters like that, all like slim, like big boobs, butts, like that kind of woman. And so now it's interesting. Yes, it's always sexualized. I mean, I love Lara Croft, but it's interesting now to have women in the tech space creating from their perspective. And I think it's great to have a balance of everyone represented in the industry.
Yes, also something that Lorena said, like, I think tech community and I think artistic community too are like, people really help each other, you know, like with skills, because everything is really new and everyone is like learning and, you know, like improvising and understanding how softwares work. And for me, like mix these disciplines, you know, like fashion, art, tech, and understand how create something new for the world, not only like new fashion or new art, like something new for the world. I think it's really impressive, you know, like. And during this time I'm making a lot of connections and, you know, exchanging a lot with different professionals. And I think it's something really big, not only in a way of market, but, you know, like to learn, to understand how create something new for the world. And this.
Okay, so I think maybe now Julia and I will go through the Mutantboard website a little bit and maybe talk about a few of the models, and we'll finish with OT, which is Vitoria's, and then Vitoria can take over and give us more details about her inspiration and the process, and then her broader work as well, which is amazing. So let me share our screen. So this is the Mutantboard website.
Welcome to the Mutantboard bus.
Yes. So, you know, we were like an agency, like a mother agency. It's kind of a home for the models. So we wanted it to be a home, but we were very inspired by Dali, and a lot of mine and Julia's work in photography and styling is kind of ambiguous and surreal. And so we kind of wanted to bring that to Mutantboard and kind of avoid the cliche sci-fi look. We still wanted something that looked modern, but mixed with surreal, you know, nodding to human art. So that was the idea here. And actually it was my girlfriend, Vivian Gallinari, who is also Brazilian, who coded the website, put this all together for us. Julia's boyfriend, Adam, did our logo and some graphics for us. So it's very family run.
Family result, for sure.
Yeah, and
so I think on our landing page, it's a virtual VR landing page. So if you have goggles, you can look around the room. On a phone, if you move, it will move around in the space, and it's just a bit more immersive already when you step on it. But it's clean enough. We thought it's clean enough for you to still realize, okay, this is the logo. This is what I have to click on. It's not too confusing.
Okay, so we will click through. where you find our models page, which is kind of like what you would see on a traditional model website. You would see like just little profile shots of each of the models. And when you hover over, you can see the model's name and who created them. So I think we'll go through each of them one by one. We'll leave OT till last, and we'll just talk briefly and show you their portfolios.
Oh, sorry.
So let's start with Goku. So Goku was our first model by Paola Pina, an Italian artist. And so we wanted each of our models, we really wanted to create kind of a world for these models, what Mutantboard is. We wanted each of the models to have an ID card that kind of gave a little information about them, where they were created and who their creator is and other details like that. So here we have a little video of Goku, which will run again. And we just thought it'd be really interesting to have the models do something natural, like a human would do, like drinking a can of Coke, which, you know, an avatar doesn't need to do. And then, yeah, just some images. We wanted to do a mixture of moving and stills to make it dynamic, some kind of classic portfolio shots as real life models would have. And so, you know, the client can kind of imagine what they could use them for. And so now we will go back and show you another one of our models. So next up we have Howell, who was created by Harriet Davey, who is a British artist. She's also incredible. So Howell is actually Harriet's gamer name, her gamer alias that she's always been using. So she created this character based on this alias of hers. So Harriet has this mullet, and so does Howell. So there's all these parallels between herself and this avatar, which is really cool, even though she's not human necessarily. There's part of Harriet within her, which we love. And then we can show you another. We'll keep OT. Next, we have a pair of models called Jade and Hans, who were created by Eva, who is from Melbourne, Australia. And so these two models are a couple, kind of gender fluid couple of ours, because we saw Eva's work before. She had done this amazing, I think, poster with these gay avatars making out for this gay club in Melbourne, and they were so camp and so stylish, and we loved her look. Her look is very stylized, quite different to the other models we have, but really, really fun. And, you know, like a real agency, you want diversity and even a different style of models for different jobs. So this is Hans, the second half.
They almost blend in with our background.
Yes, they do.
And yeah, we also introduced these little identity cards, which again combine this classic set card idea with a little bit of a more tech vibe, and gives you all the information about them.
Okay, and then we have Cibele, who is by Lucas Nova, another Brazilian artist. Yeah, we have a lot of Brazilians we're working with. So that's really cool. And it's great to speak with you guys for the Immersive Fashion Week, because there's so much incredible talent coming from Brazil. I think because in Brazil, every part of Brazil, you know, you have so many different ethnicities and so much history within the country that everyone has all these different perspectives. So even with our Brazilian artists, everyone creates such different work, which is really, really interesting to see.
And then, last but not least, Oti.
So here we have Oti by Vitoria, and Vitoria researched this meteorite Imilak, which I think, I can't remember if it's Chile or Peru where this meteor landed. And Oti is kind of like, okay, Chile. So Oti is kind of like your neo soul girl. She was very influenced by Erykah Badu, Grace Jones, loads of really cool artist references, Neo, people like that. We even created a Spotify playlist for her because she seems to be very musically influenced. So yeah, OT has a Spotify playlist, which is great. It gives you kind of an insight into her personality. And what we wanted to do with each of our models is give them some kind of personality, like they have come from something authentic, and they do have something authentic from each of our artists that are behind them. And we want to do that in an organic way. At the same time, we don't want to create virtual influencers where me and Julia are speaking on behalf of them. OT is obviously a Black model created by a Black artist. So me and Julia aren't going to start speaking about the Black experience through OT's mouth. If Vitoria wants to do that, she will do that. But as an agency, we're not going to start pretending that we are these models. You know, we want to create amazing imagery with them and campaigns and work with the artists, but you know, that's kind of where we draw the line. And maybe should we share the Instagram quickly with a couple of things?
Yeah, let me.
So
I need to stop this though. No, how do it? Oh, what have I done?
Here. So this is the Instagram, and we'll show you something recent that we did with Howell. I'm not sure how much you can see. You might have to get really close to your laptop. But we wanted to kind of make fun of magazines. So we created this magazine called Rendra, kind of like render, which is a tech term for when you're kind of like exporting an image or a film. And it's kind of a play on November, even the font and things like that. Issue Infinity over here. It's made from 100% recycled kale. And just really satirical headlines here, like keep fit, we crawl around the ceiling on all fours, dinner with friends, 10 cannibal only restaurants, and things like that. We were just having fun. And it's like, you know, I think because we are at a point, hopefully, where the industry is reevaluating itself, hopefully they're at a point where they can laugh at themselves as well. And then, you know, we have some kind of editorial images of Goku here. This is some work we did for the artist Sevdaliza, who we love. She's an Iranian Dutch, super talented singer. And this is some of her merch, which we digitized with the help of Scotoma Lab. And Tabitha Swanson did some more editorial renders for us with that. We were also part of Helsinki Fashion Week. So OT and Goku were in that. So this was an Indian jewelry brand that they were modeling. And yeah, you can feel free to have a look at our Instagram. It's just at Mutantboard.
I think you should share also from
Helsinki.
Here we have our power queens.
So this is from Helsinki Fashion Week. We did a little podcast with Evelyn Mora, who is the founder of Helsinki Fashion Week, which is like it champions sustainability, and it was the first fully virtual fashion week. And here we have Goku and OT hanging out with Evelyn's avatar. So Evelyn is actually a real person, and this is the avatar based on her. So Evelyn is wearing a handbag with Care Bears on it and shoes as well. And then OT, her bag has the Mutantboard monogram on it, like the Fendi monogram. So yeah, that was a really cool picture to put them all together into one shot. So that's a few of our favorite pieces so far. But you can feel free to connect with us on Instagram and also check out our website. We're always available via email. Our website is on our Instagram, and our emails are on the website and Instagram. So yeah, you can always reach out if you do some digital work, not even necessarily models. It can be anything, environments. We keep a database of everyone. And so yeah, so now I think we'll hand over to Vitoria to tell us more about OT and her broader works.
Yes, so I prepared a simple presentation with some photos of OT and some artworks, and I will share my screen with you and talk a little bit about the process of creating OT. A minute. This is the main photo of OT. I really enjoyed this picture because it shows her body and in a cute way, you know. And as a Black woman and Black artist, I was concerned to create a Black 3D avatar and how her body will be exposed and used in projects. So I talked a lot with Lorena and Julia, and we understand, like Lorena said before, that we, you know, we need Black artists, Black creators to talk for the avatars, and we have a lot of open channel. I can talk with Lorena and Julia and say, oh, this is something that I think is not good for OT, and this is something that I think that is good for OT, perform or work. So I think this image shows her body, shows her personality in a cute and beautiful way. And with this avatar, I really try to push these boundaries, like, because we have a lot of stereotypes related to Black female bodies. So I try to don't look for this and put this Black body in another concept and another world, so I think OT has some magic and ethereal side, like, and this second page face, because just to share that I focus on create a face that sings a lot with Black woman that I know, Black woman from my family, but a face that seems to be from another world, like she has something extraterrestrial on her face and her personality. So I made these big eyes and this big mouth, to not only to show this, but to emphasize some Black characteristics that people don't see as beautiful, and so I use it a natural hair that is similar to my natural hair. And it's funny because when I was creating OT, I started with another hair for her. I started with straight hair, and in the final, when I was delivering, I was, no, I think I need to just change it and make a different hair, because
yeah, I think it's so cool that you used her natural hair, but you did it in a modern way, kind of like Grace Jones used to do, the way she styled it. It's super cool. Yeah, because I know that we were talking a lot before about her having like this amazing wig collection and having a different color wig for every single, which she still can do. But I think it's amazing for these first set of images that she's natural.
Yes. And when I was creating and understanding how put this hair on her, and because this hair has like is sided, I don't know to say this in English, the best words, but so I tried to start to make a different style and make her like a contemporary girl, and these details are to show more parts of OT, like this one where we can see her back. I really like this image because we can see like it's something that shows her body, that actually puts her in a sexy way, but not hypersexualizing her, and I'm really satisfied with this result, and even the second photo with her hand, and like sexy details, but not in a wrong way, it's like her being sexy, her being sensual, and is this there is something about OT for her concept history. It's like she was activated with a fall of a meteorite in Imilak Falls, And so she has this background. She was from space, and she falls on Earth, and then activated and started to be this 3D avatar on digital space. And now I want to share one of my works from the beginning of the year. This is a personal artwork that was exhibited on Times Square. This is a video, a looping video, and the title of the video is Untitled, because I started to create it's like a symbiosis with female body with this entozoa animals, you know. And the main idea of this project was create how can I say the ocean in building on Times Square. So this was what I think was one of the most big exhibitions of my work, you know, like, and I really enjoyed to create it. Was created by Lightbox Studio from New York, and they promote digital arts, and they made a lot of exhibitions, not only on digital space but on physical space too. So I think it's a good example of digital art on physical space. And the second image, I don't know if the photos are in a good quality for you, but this was my recent work. It's the title of the video is Illusion. Is a video that I made on web residence in Brazil. And the last exhibition of this video was on Art Rio Fair. Is I think it's the bigger art fair from Latin America. And this is the video screening on the art fair. And in this video, I talk a lot of about the racism on algorithms and the looping of contents on digital social media. And yes, this is one of my favorite works because it's a short film, and I put a lot of myself on this artwork. And this is another artwork from 2019 that was exhibited on a gallery in São Paulo called Jaqueline Martins. And this video, the title is Internal Conflicts, and it's a looping video where the bodies, you know, melt and bring and sorry, I don't know to say this in a better way in English, but they melt and you don't understand if there are two bodies or one body. And I try to make a visualization of how I feel with my internal conflicts. And is this I bring just some examples.
Such a great work, Vitória. How long do you work with digital art?
Yes, I started to experimenting 3D art on 2015. So my process was a lot of experiments and, you know, learning to use the softwares. And I think in the next years, I started to create artist language with 3D. And now I'm, you know, having a maturity in my artwork. Mm-hmm. and going on with everything. So, and when I started with Mutantboard was the first time that I had this, you know, connection with fashion world, you know. Mm-hmm. So I started to make more works on fashion. So this connection with Lorena and Julia was really good for me to understand how can I act on fashion world and fashion scene, you know?
Well, I think what we've been seeing is that communities are very important to like bring more talents or kind of show people they can belong to the tech industry, they can do it, like it's possible. So what comes to my mind is like, how do you think communities like yours can empower other creatives, especially the ones with no resources? Because when you think of Latin American and Brazil, I think we know how difficult it is to get like a good computer and everything. But how do you think communities can help them out? Maybe show the first steps. How do you like? Are you doing something in this
So
there are definitely softwares that are for free.
yeah, like so many software
A
for
lot of the
free.
3D softwares
Blender,
are
DAZ, Unreal. Like if you're using them to learn, it's free. And that's basically all you need. To make a virtual model, you can make it on DAZ. To animate, you can use Blender or Unreal. So of course, you know, they're still privileged to be able to have a computer that you can do this on. You can't deny that. But at the same time, once you have that, then there's a lot of free software. And as we said, so many people are sharing knowledge for free on YouTube. You can find tutorials for everything. And most of the artists taught themselves how to use the software. And, you know, someone's always willing to help if you have a question. Like,
I was asking them how communities can help like new talents, especially because you have lots of people with no resources. And just want to ask you like something similar. What do you think were the main challenge for you when you came into the tech industry? And what would you say to those who want to start working with technology and like have no idea how to start, or maybe I don't know, it's maybe something it's not so easy and so like people don't really know how to start. So I don't know, what you say to them?
Yeah. Yes, I think one of the worst things to work with tech nowadays is like it's being a woman or a girl is really hard, because you know, when most of the 3D artists from our time learn this from themselves, like they started to looking on YouTube and Google and how to make it, and start to experimenting. And but when you are a woman, people don't really credit you like a really professional. And I think, and not only on technological area or on fashion, I don't know, like it's something on the world. And so I think one of the things that and nowadays I think I'm on a good place, but some years ago I was like every time, you know, pushing like, this is my works, look what I can do, you know. And sometimes you don't and as you're experimenting a lot, you don't have, you know, like a place on industry. Like in Brazil, for example, we don't have a big industry for these artists and you know, like market to implement this type of art and this type of expression. So I think the most difficult thing is like the validation from the market and everything. And actually in Brazil, the markets, because if you don't have because it's like you can make like old I made this 3D avatar in my notebook with Blender. So it's something that is cheap. But if you don't have markets, if you don't have if you don't have access to have money with this work, you can't make this. You need to make something different. So I think the most difficult thing is having markets that support these digital artists to create and make this as a job. And so I think a lot of people that I know that work with this have like two careers. So like me, you have something that you make money and something that you really love and you really wants to make, but would be perfect have a way to to grow and having this as a job, and but in the same way, I think we have how can I say, a rich experience because we can experiment a lot, so we can create a lot, we can push the boundaries and say this is this is old, we can make something new. So I think we have this space, but unfortunately I think in most parts of the world we don't have a market for this, and I think it's growing, and I hope that it's became huge. But I think it's more that, and I think an advice for young people that wants to learn more about 3D and I don't know tech artists and technological expressions is search for tutorials. So most of the time they are in English, but you can put this slow and understand how the person is working. And there is a lot of things in internet, a lot of things, and I think I don't know, and I think it's a good time to start because you can experiment and have your language without rules. I think it's mainly that, and yes, I think maybe I don't know, but maybe I think like this reunion of brands and of the brief fashion week is good because people see the artists, that see what Brazilian people are doing, and I think this is good.
Great, thank you. I think you wanted to share something with us, the last work. One last work?
Yes, it's more commercial work. It's not like a personal work. I will try to share my screen here.
Okay.
This is my Instagram, and I'd like to share this work for Farfetch. And this work was is for the rebrand of Farfetch for 2020, and I made a version of a rubber monogram of the material, and was with Penny and Howell studio, sorry, and they called a lot of artists to make different versions, and I think they're gonna release my video some months. I don't know exactly the date, but they are releasing all the videos on their social media and everything. And this is an example of work like Lorena and Julia said about the general 3D art, creative works that is not with 3D avatars, but it's for fashion, So I think this is good work. And there is another work that I made for Snapchat with this new product called Spectacles. It's a glasses where you can film and apply 3D filters. So I made a ethereal filter for them. This is an example of my filter, and is this there's the process. But it's, you can see more on my Instagram. It's a little big, this video. So I will start sharing my screen right now.
Thank you, Vitória. That's amazing. It's very nice to know better how you work, what you've been doing, because every time I talk to you, I always ask, what are you doing now? Because like we never can follow and it's very hard.
Yes.
But it's amazing that like you put your work on Times Square. That's so like great. Another thing, you went to like Tate Modern. That is something you didn't say,
Yes.
but like was huge, and it's very nice to have a Brazilian artist, no, in this place.
Yes.
Well, I think I have one last question, because Vitória talked a lot about the market itself, because it's very hard to create, but it's also very hard to sell it. And then for you, like Lorena and Julia, what are the main type of clients you have today? Is it like more fashion, fashion campaigns that use the avatars, or what do you see? How can you use more the 3D and avatars?
I think right now, I think with the market, everyone is interested in it. But it's still very much a case of educating the clients. I mean, me and Julia had to be educated through the whole time we were creating Mutantboard to understand the process that the artists go through, how many hours go into that, like to animate. First you have to rig a model, which basically means to give it bones, like each joint as if it was a human, and then to animate that, like it takes so much time. And then even just rendering it, like exporting that video can take days. So clients think, oh, it must be easy, it's just on a computer, it's not like a real shoot where you need like 50 people on set. No, but you probably need a few people, and it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of hours of work. Even though you might be at a computer, it's not manual labor, it's really hard work. So you have to educate the clients. You have to let them know that, what, like, you do need budget for this. It's not something that happens quickly just because it's on a computer. And they didn't realize that, because this is all new. So like, oh, really? Like, okay.
It's quite interesting. I think compared to standard fashion campaigns, the approach is a bit different. Usually you get the client comes to you and gives you all the facts. And here it's more like, hey, can you give us some facts about how this would look like? Yeah. It's very different. Like, there's not a specific brief that comes with instructions. It's more, this is what we'd like. How do we get there?
Yeah, so, you're still educating the market. So that has its own hurdles. People don't expect that they need that much budget for it. So that's one thing. But, the people that we're targeting are the fashion industry, because this is, at the end of the day, this is something that's on trend now, especially because of coronavirus. It's a new way to market fashion and to still sell their products without, having to fly a model across the world and do a whole campaign shoot. Also, we are targeting, which is like I think a really interesting use case for avatars, is artists, as in musicians. Musicians are always reinventing themselves, so why not reinvent themselves in a digital form? They can have every color under the sun in one music video. They can have different eyes. They can have different, they can transform in ways that they can't do physically. Which I think is really interesting for them. And I think it's really interesting for them also to have this digital version of themselves, and to exist in that space as well, especially, again, because they can't shoot. I mean, now in London, we started shooting a little bit again, but, when we couldn't shoot music videos and we couldn't shoot, editorials for the musicians, I think it's a really interesting way for them to still connect with their fans and to still show their personalities without actually having their physical body there. So I think mainly we are targeting, music and fashion, which is really interesting.
Yes, because it's behavior, it's like lifestyle, and it comes all together. But thanks a lot. It was amazing to talk to you. I guess we are gonna share everything, our contacts, and people can reach you out and talk a bit more about your work, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you, Lara.
So
nice to see you, Vitoria.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Tchau, até já.
Bye.
Tchau, até já.
Bye.